Hello you guys, it would not be me if I was not coming to give you another vlog idea, another vlog vision. This is, as you can tell by the title, a library reading vlog. I should stop calling these vlogs. I don't be vlogging in them. I just be coming and telling you what I think about the books, showing you a few things I might purchase for during this time. It don't even really be vlogs, but you get the point. So I have all of these books checked out from the library and I need to read them quickly so I can return them to the library. So in this vlog, we are just going to try to get through the books I have checked out from the library so I can return them. So the first thing we have is Jasmine Guillory, Drunk on Love. I have already started reading some of this book. So this is a Jasmine Guillory book. I think it's a standalone book. Jasmine Guillory has like her like royal wedding little series that I find to be absolutely boring as hell. So therefore, I want nothing to do with any of the books in that series, but I will read a Jasmine Guillory like standalone book. And there has already been a sex scene in this book that was kind of graphic a little bit. And I didn't know Jasmine Guillory did graphic sex scenes. It wasn't the most graphic. Like it wasn't giving Tessa Bailey, but like it was pretty graphic. I said, oh, is that what we're doing now? But I'm loving the beat. I'm loving the beat. So we have Jasmine Guillory's Drunk on Love. We'll definitely read that in this video since I've already started reading it. We also have The Last to Vanish. I don't know if we'll get to this because I do want to do a Megan Miranda video. So I might save this for the Megan Miranda video. Just reserve it a little bit longer. So we're going to put this in the maybe pile. The next thing we have is Jar of Hearts by Jennifer Hiller. I think we should get to this. The only reason why we wouldn't be is because I have some recent releases I might want to get to before it, but we will try. So this is Jasmine Guillory's in the yes pile. This is going to go in the probably pile. Probably. Next we have by Sally Hepworth, The Younger Wife. I am going to put this in the Last to Vanish. I don't think we're going to get to it. Not because I wouldn't want to read it in this video. It's just a time thing. I would like to get up a Christmas vlog as well. So I would like to put up another vlog this month about Christmas videos. Therefore, I don't know if we'll have the time to get this one in. The next thing we have is Sign Here. This is going on our hell yeah. I've been wanting to read this book for a while and it was in the book of the month. It was a book of the month, one of the picks you could do for book of the month, but I didn't pick it for book of the month. So I feel like I should do it now. Like I got it from the library, I got it for free. And then we have The Book Eaters. This is also going to go on our We're Definitely. So our definites are these three. You know what? That's what I'm committing to. We're going to read these three books in this vlog. And I'll probably have to read Jar of Hearts and The Younger Wife on my own. And Megan Miranda, I will save for the Megan Miranda video. But these three we'll definitely get to. And maybe if we can add in a bonus one if I can read pretty fast. Like Book Eaters is a lot smaller than I thought it would be. So maybe, yeah, who knows? So anyways, we're going to get right on into it and start the vlog. Okay, peace. Hello, you guys. I am here to give you guys my first update on Sign Here. I have to be honest, this book has consumed my life. I have been reading this book all day long. I cannot put it down. I'm about to eat dinner and I'm gonna read some more of it. I just can't put it down. Every year it feels like there's a book like this that's like this like fiction, like fun type of book that like I read that just kind of like throws me for a loop and I become obsessed with it. It happens every time around Christmas, in the winter. A book like this comes around, I'm just like, oh, this is what I've been needing. This is what's supposed to, this is how it feels to read a book that I am fully into. Because I've had such a bummer of a reading year when it comes to quality and enjoyment, I found myself forcing forcing the issue, trying to like a book more than I really do because I just don't want to come on here and be negative. And then when I read a book like Sign Here, I'm just like, oh, this is how it feels to be enjoying a book, to want to pick up a book, to want to know what happens next. So it goes without saying, I'm enjoying this book. This is Sign Here by Claudia Lux. So this book follows a guy. He is in hell. So we have a story where hell is kind of being like, hell has come to life almost. Like books like this, you have books that do this, kind of like The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, where the devil has become a person. Well, in this, hell is an actual living, breathing place that you can go to. It has systems, it has rules, it has apartments, it has all of those things. So hell is its own world. And we are following a guy. He is in hell. He is one of the devil's little helpers. So his job is to get people to sell their soul to him. And if they sell their soul to him, they will eventually die and they will go to hell because hell needs people to get people to come to hell. But you have people who go to hell on their own merit. You have people like our guy, so we think, or other people in hell who get to hell by doing bad things. But I guess there's not enough people going to hell, so they have to send people out who will give their soul to the devil. So that's his job. His job is to get people's soul. So through this, we are following this guy as he is telling us how hell works, but everything he's saying is not on the up and up. He has his own plans and his own ideas of what he wants to do with his life and his time in hell that we're not really sure what's going on. He's giving us some information. This book is told when the guy who's in hell, it is told in a first person point of view. So he's telling us the story, hipping us up on game, walking us through what is going on. But there's other people in this book. We are following a family. We are following a family as they are on like a beach, a lake vacation, and they also have their own things going on. Now, the two stories do come together and all intertwined, but you have to read to find out how that is. I'm loving it. I thought I was just going to like the hell part of the story, like hearing this guy try to take people's souls and what his plans are and what he plans on doing in his own vendettas. But I enjoy everyone's point of view. Our character that's in hell has kind of a sidekick. She's also in hell. I enjoy the stuff about her. And then this family and this other POV we're getting, this family where we're learning about this family dynamic. There's a main girl in there and you also have a wife and a husband. I'm enjoying the hell out of that. And even though as I'm reading it now, the two stories haven't wrapped into each other, it's interesting to see, and you know you're working up to something. At least I hope we're working up to something. But I am enjoying the hell out of this book. It's excellent. Like, it's just really excellent. Like, it's just a fun read. Like, of course it's not groundbreaking literature, but it's interesting, it's new, you know, it's fresh, it's alive. That's the perfect word to say. It's alive, it's fresh, it's moving, and it's just something fun to read. So I will finish this relatively soon. I won't finish it tonight because it's kind of late, and like I said, I need to eat, but I am going to try to finish it first thing in the morning. I have to know how this ends. I have to know how this all comes together because, like, I don't know, it's just a fun little story. So yeah. So far, so good on Sign Here, which means so far, so good on the video. I will see you guys with more thoughts a little bit later. But yeah, so far, we're doing good. Okay, you guys, I am here for final thoughts on Sign Here by Claudia Jones. I am going to give this book 4 stars. It's 4 stars, leaning more 3.5. I think for a debut novel, this is absolutely brilliant. This book was so much fun. Like, it was just a fun, creative take on this idea of heaven and hell and, like, the decisions you make when you ask, like, oh, can I make a deal with God or can I make a deal with the devil and all that stuff. It was just really interesting. I think what really stopped me from fully, loving this book is the idea that we are dealing with like 4 POVs. We are dealing with Peyote's POV, who is the person that is in hell, like who is like making deals with people. Then we have another person in hell. Her name is Cal. Then we have the Harrisons, and in the Harrisons, we are dealing with 2 POVs there. We are dealing with Mickey and Lily. I think though, so like we have a lot of POVs from people, and you're expecting for all these POVs to come together in some way. And in the Harrison storyline, they do, like everything kind of gets tied up with that storyline, but like Cal and Peyote and the Harrison don't really mix with one another. Like you're honestly reading like 3 totally different stories that come together for like a few pages at the end, and then the story just ends. So I do think this book could have been a whole lot cleaner. And I do think with such a fun premise, it could have been even more fun. It could have been even more like out there. I do feel like we kind of towards the end got into like this book taking itself a bit too seriously, a bit too preachy, a bit too like, okay, the fun is over, you know, idea of this book. So I do think I was waiting for a big moment, and that moment didn't happen. But I 100% believe all my gripes with this book is because this book is a debut novel. I think with, you know, with a bit longer of a tooth, our author could have like really wrote a great book if she just had more experience under her belt writing traditional novels. So that's like my only gripe. I think it could have been cleaner. I think the ending could have just been cleaner. Everything could have like tied together really well, but like you're following these storylines and you're waiting for something, and that something just never happens. Also, for this book to be called Sign Here, and it's about the devil and hell and all that stuff, the most interesting storyline in this book is 100% the Harrison family. The Harrison family is the most interesting storyline in this, and they really don't have much to do with like heaven and hell. Like the dad, their grandfather does in a way, but like it really doesn't have anything to do with the hell storyline until it does. And so it's just like the premise of the book is not even the most interesting part of the book. Like you have the Harrison, which is your basic domestic thrillery, domestic mystery type book going on with their storyline, and that's the most interesting storyline. So I do just have to deduct points on just the fact that I don't think this fully accomplished what it set out to accomplish to the best of its abilities. But that does not take away from the fact that this book is really enjoyable. I had so much fun. This is one of my most fun reads of the year. I just had a fucking good time. And yeah, so I'm really happy that I read this book. The next book we are going to get into is Jasmine Guillory's Drunk on Love. I will come back with my initial thoughts. I already have initial thoughts. I just don't have the book with me to give you my initial thoughts. So I will come back with Jasmine Guillory's Drunk on Love to give you my initial thoughts on that novel. Okay? Peace. Hey you guys, so we have our first clip for Jasmine Guillory's Drunk on Love. I have not read a Jasmine Guillory book in so long. I don't think I've read a Jasmine Guillory book since 2019. I want to say maybe pre-pandemic is the last time I read a Jasmine Guillory book. It's been a long time. So it is interesting to get back in the mind of a Jasmine Guillory, because I have long told myself me and Jasmine Guillory just might not be friends. Like it just may not work. The thing about Jasmine Guillory is, in Jasmine Guillory's writing, a lot of romance nowadays is really like the same. It's really trope heavy. It's very like, you know exactly what every trope is going to do, how it's going to go. So it's very predictable and trope heavy, which I don't mind. Like that is a part of romance, like the tropes and the calculations. The calculations is a big part of romance. You know the beats that every romance is going to hit. It's just about who does it most interestingly. Jasmine Guillory doesn't really get trope heavy. You don't get the predictable scenes from Jasmine Guillory. You don't really get the predictable moments from Jasmine Guillory. You don't really get certain dialogue that you expect to get in a romance novel. I will say Jasmine Guillory's books are very conversational, very how regular people talk in everyday life, like how everyday things go. Mundane. The word is mundane. Jasmine Guillory books are very mundane. Like, yes, there are like, you know, outlandish things that happen, like the proposal, getting proposed to at a baseball game, and then you end up dating the guy who saved you from the proposal, or the wedding date. You end up being someone's fake date for a wedding who you just met. Like, there's those things that happen, but the way she goes about them are a lot more mundane. A lot of times you have a lot of hijinks. The word is hijinks also as well. I think a lot of romance books has hijinks, quirkiness that Jasmine Guillory really doesn't do. And I think for some people that can make the book less exciting, there's less to sink your teeth into. There's less like kick your feet up and, you know, giggle type moments, you know? That's what it is. And so reading Jasmine Guillory Drunk on Love, I'm back in that way of Jasmine Guillory writing romance, where things are just very mundane. Even though things are strange and like this doesn't happen to your everyday person, it's just still very mundane, very day-to-day, very people doing regular stuff, you know? It doesn't have those hijinks, those quirks that you are used to in a romance novel. So in Drunk on Love, you have two people who are in Napa Valley. And one of them owns a winery. The black woman, she owns a winery with her brother and all of that stuff. So one day she is in Napa Valley and she decides to go to a bar. When she is at a bar, she meets this guy named Luke. And they get to talking. He doesn't seem like he's from here. He seems like a tech guy and all that stuff. They hit it off and they start dating. They have sex. They have sex back at his place. Well, the next day, they are hiring people for their new vineyard, you know, people to work at the vineyard because they need some help. And he's one of the people who wants to work there. So he's one of the people who they are training to work at the vineyard. And that's weird because I just slept with my boss. That's kind of the thing. Well, also we have Luke. Luke has his own storyline. Luke is dealing with the fact that he just quit his nice fancy tech job and his mother wants him to date his best friend who is also in Napa. So he lies to his mother and says that he is dating his best friend. And as the story is continuing, our main girl, she meets the best friend and Luke, and she's like, oh, you're in a relationship. Like, that's bizarre. And he kind of doesn't know if he should tell her like you're not really in a relationship, or that he is, or does he want to make her jealous. It's a whole thing, but that's where we're at in the story. It's really easy to read. That's what I'm going to say so far. I don't really have any deep opinions on it. It's not bad. Like, I don't want to stop reading it. It's not boring, but it's, like I said, it's easy to read. It's easy to flip the page. Like, you're not like, here come another page, here come like, it flows. That's the one thing I do like about Jasmine Guillory's writing, even though I've had my gripes. Her writing flows. Like, it's really easy to read a Jasmine Guillory book. Oftentimes when I get to the end of a Jasmine Guillory book, I wonder, did I waste my time? Like, did this add anything to my life? But so far, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying the fact that this is not a part of her little wedding little thingy. It's not a part of that. But overall, it's enjoyable from like the start. I'm liking it. If someone said rate it right now, 3.5, which is what I usually give a Jasmine Guillory book. But we'll see. We'll see if it gets better. I do wish our two characters had a little bit more personality. That's another thing. Because she writes characters very mundane, very realistic, they're boring. Because regular people are boring. And so that's another thing. It's really hard to like really root for characters who are just kind of boring. And so like that's what we have going on here as well. But I'm on page 110. Nothing has really happened. Like nothing has really happened. I'm on page 110. But we're going to keep going. It's a long book. This book is closing up to be almost 400 pages. So we will see. Okay, peace. Hello you guys. So I have about 120 some odd pages left of this book. I'm on page 264 and it goes to page 380 and I am just about to knock out these last 120 pages. This book is due back at the library very soon, so honestly I am about to sit on my couch and I'm going to read the rest of this just really quickly. This is a really easy book to read and come back and give you guys my final thoughts. I also have to clean out my turtle's tank. It's a whole thing. It is such a like sleepy day. I want to go to sleep so bad, but let me tell you a little something about me. My favorite time of the day is going to sleep. Going to sleep is my favorite time of the day. So sometimes I don't like taking a nap because I fully want to enjoy my slumber. Like I don't want to wake up early. I don't want to be not be able to get to sleep. I don't want to toss and turn turn at night. I want to go to sleep and be sleep. That is what I want. Therefore, I don't want to take a nap. So let me read this book, and then I'm going to do the Turtles Tank, and then I'll be ready to sleep at night. Ooh, focus. Yes. So let me do that, and then I'll come back with final thoughts. Okay, peace. Okay, you guys. So I just recently, as of the past minute, finished Jasmine Guillory's Drunk on Love. I am going to give this book 3 out of 5 stars. 3 leaning 2, more than 3 leaning 4. This book was okay. Like, it was just okay. Like I said, I don't like the way Jasmine Guillory writes her characters. I just don't find them that complex. And it's not like they need to be complex, but maybe the word is interesting. I don't find Jasmine Guillory's characters to be interesting, especially the heroes in the book, especially usually the guys. In her books, they're just so flat. And Luke, the character in here, he is even flatter than the characters I've read from her before. He just has nothing really going for him. You hear things about him, and that's how you get his character, but it doesn't seem like those things really make him as a character. It doesn't feel like what we know about him is the reason why he makes certain decisions. He just doesn't feel like a fleshed out character. I feel like all of Jasmine Guillory's characters in her books don't feel fleshed out, and that's why it's really hard to really love the romances. When I got to the last act of this book, I'm supposed to be reading the book, and I'm supposed to be thinking to myself, like, wow, we've come on such a journey. Look at all the fun times we've had together. But that's not what I was getting from this. Like, we didn't have any fun time. We didn't have a journey. It was just scene after scene after scene, dialogue after dialogue, event after event, but I don't think it made really a cohesive love story. So when we get to the end and they're saying their I love yous and stuff, it's just like, I guess, like, if you say so. It just really wasn't compelling. And then the third act breakup of this book is so bizarre. Like, I don't even know if, like, the character who initiated the third act breakup was even in the wrong. It was just a bizarre third act breakup, because you're like, why is this even a thing? Y'all are too grown for this. But I was in it because it was really the only interesting thing that happened the entire book. I feel like Jasmine Guillory tries to not do romance in this typical way that we see romance right now, but it also loses some of the pizzazz that a lot of current romance has. Like the bounciness. I feel like Jasmine Guillory's romances aren't bouncy enough. They're not moving enough. I don't know. Maybe it's because she doesn't try to make like a rom-com type romance, but this 100% it would be like considered a rom-com type romance, wouldn't it? It just doesn't feel it. Like, it's just not exciting. It's just not exciting. So we are going to move on to our next book. I obviously will not be purchasing this book because it wasn't good to me. And we'll move on to the next one. Okay. So we're starting Book Eaters. And I must admit, we are on DNF alert. For the past 2 days, I have been reading Book Eaters, The Book Eaters. And I got to part 2, Act 2. And not only am I confused, I'm bored as shit. This book is so boring. Like, this book, I'm just going to say it. This book is so boring. Of course, like, you have a fantasy novel, and I'm not a fantasy girl, but I don't think fantasy books are boring. I think fantasy books are just not for me. This is a dark fantasy, and, like, it's so boring. So let me tell you what it's about to the best of my abilities, because there's a huge part of this, like, I don't understand. So, you have a woman. She comes from a family that are book eaters. Everyone in this world is not a book eater. There's a specific lineage in this time that are book eaters. Like, people don't really know that book eaters exist. People kind of think it's like an urban myth that people eat books, but the person we're following in this book is from the lineage of book eaters, which means that in order to get the sustenance, in order to get the nutrition that they need, they have to eat books. They eat books about all types of things, and that gives them what they need. So if, like, you eat a map, you know how to get somewhere, you know? If you eat a book about like courage, you get some courage. Like, you get what I'm saying, like that. But in this world, the girls eat like fairy tales and whimsical type books, and the boys eat books that are more about like battle and knowledge and courage and all of that stuff. So our girl, what's her name? Devin, she has a son. She has a son who does not eat books. He cannot eat books. He likes to eat human beings. He has a hunger for human beings, and she has to figure out a way to keep him alive and give him the stuff that he needs in order to stay alive. Because right now her son is really sick because he like can't eat people. So she has to try to lure people in order to give her son the stuff that he needs. But there's this family who has like what he actually needs in order to survive. But this family has been at war and stuff. So they're kind of in hiding and all types of stuff like that. So she's trying to find someone who can help her get to this family, who can give her son the stuff that he needs to survive, so he doesn't just have to eat regular old people. And that's what this book is basically about. Her going on this journey to try to save her son. I'm confused. I don't even understand the whole storyline about her trying to find these people, who these people are. They're looking for something called like deception. I don't care. I'm sitting up here and I'm trying to be like, give you guys a genuine like first initial thoughts. I don't care. Like, I don't care. Like, I read the words on the page, but there's a lot of words on these pages, by the way. And I just don't care. I just don't like, I half know what's going on. I don't understand the world. It seems like it could be so fun, but I think it's so grim and so dark that it's not fun. So we're on DNF alert. We're on DNF alert. I'm not enjoying myself. I'm just honestly bored. I'm bored and confused. That's how I feel. Those are my initial thoughts. Am I going to keep reading? I'm going to keep reading until I can't read anymore. Until it's just like, this is insufferable, or this is our last book for this video. So until I just want this video to end. It's just like, I need this video to end. Like, I can't do this anymore. But I'm trudging along. It's a long read. It's not long. The book is not even 300 pages. Trust me, I'll be looking. It's not even 300 pages. It just feels so long. Because you're just going from person to person. And then we're getting introduced to characters. I don't understand what they're doing. Because it's fantasy, I can't even fully imagine what's going on. It's confusing. Let's see. I'm trying to see what people who like this book said. The Book Eaters is a darkly sweet pastry of a book about family, betrayal, and the lengths we go for the ones we love. A delicious modern fairy tale. I do think the length we go for family, that is like reigning true. I do enjoy what she's willing to do to help her son, like her son starving to death, and what she's willing to do, who she's willing to manipulate in order to get her son some food. That part is working. A darkly sweet pastry, I ain't got to that part yet. So yeah, I'm gonna keep reading, but it's not going well. It's not going well. So anyway, peace. Okay, you guys, so I have made an executive level decision. We are no longer going to be reading The Book Eaters. We have made it to the point where I have about 150 pages left. And I was thinking about it. I went through every storyline that was going on, and I realized I didn't care how any of it ended. I didn't care what happened to her son. She has a daughter. I didn't care about none of that. I didn't care about the dragons. I didn't care about any of it. And that is just reason to not finish this book. So this book is going to go into DNF for me. It's just a book that is not for me. I think this book probably does have a good ending. Some people do like it. It's just, I'm not a fantasy girl. Therefore, there's nothing that this ending could be that would make me want, like, that would make up for the fact that I'm literally suffering through every single page. Thankfully, this is a library book. I am going to take it right back to the library. And you know what? The goal when I get a library book, the hope is that it's a 5-star, maybe 4.55, and I want to reread it and I want to purchase it myself. That's literally like the greatest thing that could happen when I read a library book, that I want to purchase it on my own. I want to add it to my personal collection of books. This is not it. I will never revisit this book. It's just, no. And I am starting in 2023. I'm going to be even better about this, but I feel like New Year's resolutions can start today. I'm not going to read books that don't serve me. Like, there's just no point. And this is really hard for me. I'm going to be honest. Like, I want to just finish it and be like, I read it. Even though it sucked and it was terrible, I read it. There's no point. There's absolutely no point. But I don't want to end this video on a flop. Are you dumb? So I am going to move on to reading The Younger Wife. Let me go get it. So I am going to move on to reading The Younger Wife, and we also might get Jar of Hearts in here. Like, we might just do a 2-for-1er, so give this back and read 2 more books. But we are going to read The Younger Wife by Sally Hepworth. I've never read The Good Sister by this author, so like, this is my first time, I believe, reading a Sally Hepworth book, but I am excited, and let's get on into it. So The Book Eaters is a flop. It just wasn't for me. I'm sorry if you deeply wanted to know my thoughts. There's nothing I could have said about that book that would have added anything to your knowledge. Like, it's just not for me. It's just not for me. They were talking about dragons, and her son was a dragon, then she had a daughter, and you had to have a certain amount of kids, then you couldn't have kids no more, and they running out of women to be fertile, and it was just too much of me not caring. Like, I went through, because it's really hard for me to DNF in books, so I went through every single storyline to see if I cared about any of them, and the answer was no. I didn't, so we move on, okay? The Younger Wife. Okay, you guys, The Younger Wife. I got some dental work done, and I have been just feeling real damn bad. And so I've just been reading this book, and I'm happy to announce, like, it's really keeping my attention. So let me tell you what this book is about, because it started off kind of rocky for me. So this book is the first book that I am reading that is like post-COVID. Like, it's so shocking. This is the first book I've read this year that has a storyline that like has something to do with COVID. Like, people are mentioning COVID, and so that was shocking to see. But this book takes place in Australia. We have an Australian domestic thriller. I love domestic thrillers. I just don't know what to tell you. Some people absolutely hate domestic thrillers. I think domestic thrillers are one of those things either you get or you don't get. And I am willing to try literally any domestic thriller. Like, I'm sorry, I just love it. It's the nosy in me. It's the messy in me. I love a domestic thriller, and that's what we have here. So we have a man, his name is Steven. Steven is getting married. So we start the book off where an uninvited guest has showed up to this guy Steven's wedding, and something happens at this wedding. We as the reader don't know what happened, but something just happened at this wedding, and this uninvited guest just witnessed what happened, and they're trying to sneak out, and we start the story. So we start the story going back in time to meet the couple who are getting married at the wedding and their family. And that's where we have the younger wife. So Stephen has a wife who is in a nursing home because she has dementia. He also has 2 daughters named Talia and Rachel. What's their name, child? He He also has two daughters that are named Natalie and Rachel. And basically, he is going to get married. So he is introducing his new younger wife to the two daughters. And basically, you get into this story about all the things that are leading up to the marriage between Stephen and his new younger wife, while his current wife is sitting in a nursing home with dementia. There's no sign that she's going to die anytime soon. She's actually in perfect health except for having dementia, but things might not be as they seem with everyone in the family, and that starts our story. So we start our story with everybody has secrets. The daughters have secrets, the husband has secrets, the new wife has secrets, and maybe even the mother who is in the nursing home, maybe even she has secrets. And throughout the book, you are also flashing forward to that wedding that I told you happened in the first scene of the book. So that is what is happening. That is the domestic thriller setup. This man who is a heart surgeon, he's pretty old, is getting married to a young girl who is like a year younger than his daughter, his youngest daughter. That's what is going on. And you're following everyone's POV except for the wife who's in the nursing home and the husband. The Stephen, he does not have a POV. You have three POVs. You have the daughter, you have the other daughter, you have the new wife, and you also have that POV of that person at the wedding. Sorry, you have 4 POVs. This book is really, really good. I just don't know what to... It's interesting. I don't know if it's good. We have to get to like the what's going on to like say if the book is like good. Should you read the book? Was it worth the time? But from what we are getting right now, this book just really has me in it. My tooth is killing me. So like it's really hard for me to get this out, but like I'm enjoying the book. What I love about a good domestic thriller is like the secrets that everyone keeps, and that's what this book is giving me. Everyone has their own plight. Everyone has the things that they're dealing with. And in a book like this, I don't want to spoil what's going on. So if I say something, it's going to spoil like the setup of the book. But usually when you have the like what's at play here, you usually don't get the perspective of people in that person's life, like how this person affects everyone around him. And that's what's interesting about this book, seeing how this character who is causing all this chaos, how other people see that person, the effect he has on other people. Because usually in this type of story, the younger wife would be the only person who would have a POV, and you're just left to like take her word as thing. But I'm enjoying that we are getting a full, rich story. It feels like there's history here. This feels like there's background here. And it's just setting up for a really interesting world that is going on here. It doesn't feel like this story which is written and you're reading it. It feels like you've stumbled upon a family with quite a bit of chaos going on. So it's just really good. The only thing that is not working for me, so a big part of this book is like this gaslight element that is going on, and I don't know if it's being done well. I kind of think it's being a little too on the nose with the way gaslighting works. Like, it just seems really convenient to keep the story going that one character is believing or falling for the gaslighting. They are allowing themselves to be gaslit. It seems a little too convenient to keep the story going, to keep the villain as the villain, that our character is believing certain things that another character is saying. That's the part that really kind of falls apart for me. That's kind of like, okay, I'm still here because it's interesting. But that is a little like, okay, it's a little on the nose, because it's just like, would a normal person, like a real person, have fallen for this? Like, it's just not done very coy, you know? It's not done very slick. It just seems very like, let me gaslight you. Oh, you thought you put milk in the refrigerator? Guess what? You didn't want milk. You didn't go to the store. And then the person's like, am I going crazy? I didn't even buy milk. Meanwhile, I just threw the milk in the trash and like took the trash out. That's what it's giving. Like, it's giving a little too like, you know you could prove if this stuff is right, is actually happening or not. Like, it's taking a lot for me to believe that a certain character is believing that she's going crazy. But other than that, this book is just really good. The strongest part of this book to me are the daughters' POVs. The daughters' POVs are excellent. Oh my gosh, you have one daughter who is dealing with trauma from her childhood, another daughter who is dealing with being a kleptomaniac, another daughter who is dealing with being a klepto. It's really good. It's really good. So I'm enjoying it. I will come back with my final thoughts and say how it goes, but we are shaping up for about a 4-star read. So that is really good, especially after not finishing the Book Eaters. That is how I know I stopped the Book Eaters at the right time, because this book is just so much better. I'm enjoying this book more. Like, I gotta stop forcing myself to read stuff that is just not serving me. And that was the Book Eaters. I don't want to read, this is what I want to be reading. This is what makes me turn the page. The Book Eaters, I was just suffering through every single page, and I shouldn't have to do that. But I don't have much more left in this book. I have literally less than 100 pages, which means we probably can fit Jar of Hearts in this video. Like, whoa. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Peace. Okay, you guys, I have finished The Younger Wife. Can you tell I'm in a better mood since last clip? I really hope the audio in this clip is better. Let's pray, or you might have another thing of me saying the audio sucks. I don't know. I got too excited playing with my new camera, and I fucked with the settings, so I'm still getting it right, so bear with me. But The Younger Wife, I'm going to give this book 3.5 out of 5 stars. I was wondering if I should move it up to a 4, but then I did some investigating, and I'm good with my 3.5. I found all the meat in this so good. I love a domestic thriller with a dysfunctional family, different POVs from everyone, it all coming together. I really, really like that. I loved all the meat. I loved all the characters. I thought it was really good. But there's a few things that, like, off bat take some points away from this. This being a mystery thriller, there is no mystery to this book. Like, what you think is going on is exactly what is going on. There are hardly few twists and turns that aren't already laid out, that you don't already know are going on. And then when you get to, like, the end of the book, nothing really throws you for a spin. Nothing really takes you for a ride. So it's just like the book dwindles away and everything that's gonna happen happens. And, you know, it's a perfectly fine book, and I enjoyed it a little bit more than fine, so I'm giving it 3.5 stars. But when we got to the ending of this book, I was reading it, and I was like, okay, we get an epilogue. So I was expecting something to happen in the epilogue. And I was like, okay, let's get to the epilogue. I'm reading the epilogue. Nothing happens in the epilogue either that's really, like, you know, noteworthy. And so I was thinking to myself, this is weird. This story feels like something else was supposed to happen at the end. Like, this author is building up to something that's supposed to throw the reader for a loop, and it just doesn't happen. I didn't know if I should respect the author for, like, being like, no, this is my story. That's how I'm going to tell it, because I actually like thrillers and mysteries that just, like, it lets the story just end. It doesn't try. That's my problem with Riley Sager sometimes. I feel like Riley Sager just likes to throw everything at the wall for the sake of someone being shocked, and it has no finesse. A lot of thriller authors do that. They want this huge, just like, circus at the end. But I like a thriller that just knows when to, you know, slowly go away. Like, if you enjoy the ride is the destination. Like, I told you a good story. You read a good story, and that is the end of this. That's what I thought this book was doing. But something about it, having the something about it just felt incomplete. So I went to Goodreads to log my rating, and I saw that this book had, like, people giving it 1 star. And I'm like, okay, even its harshest critic wouldn't give this book 1 star. It's a completely coherent book. And then most of the time when people give a book 1 star, it's because the book did something that's just like, you can't overlook it. It's just like, oh my fucking God, what the hell is going on here? And this book just didn't do that. It didn't take any huge risk when it comes to the way it told the story, when it came to the way all the characters unfolded. So I'm just like, this can't be a 1 star. Like, this is crazy. But there were multiple people giving it 1 star. And so I went to go look at that 1 star reviews. Everyone who gave this book 1 star got an arc of the book. And this is where we get a case of the arc is not the end copy. Usually, most of the times when you get an arc, the most things that are changed is a couple typos, a sentence here and there. Like, everything is not changed in the book. This book that I'm holding right here from the library has a completely different ending than the book people got from like NetGalley, the arc that is over there. That's what the comments are saying. I can't confirm it. That's what the comments are saying, because people are irate about the ending that happens in the arc, and I simply just don't have that ending. My ending was just a perfectly okay ending. Like, it wasn't the best, but it was a perfectly okay ending. Something, I don't want to spoil anything, but from what I'm getting from people's comments, the ending over there would have pissed me off a little bit too. But what happens is, because the ending is reworked, I wouldn't say it's changed, it's reworked in this one, the final copy. It makes it so that there's nothing that happens at the end of this book. Like, it just, because you're building up to whatever the fuck she did in the arc that got everyone pissed off, she has to rework it without reworking the entire book. And so Sally just ends the book. Sally's just like, oh, well, there it is. Since y'all ain't like the food I gave you, take these crumbs. And that's what kinda it is. And I was wondering why. Like, it felt like you were building up to this moment where it's like, maybe it felt like it was building up to maybe everything you think that is true isn't true, and maybe everything you think is true isn't true. That's what it was building up to. But I'm spoiling, but you don't get that moment. All spoilers, I put spoiler down here. You don't really get that moment, so it feels incomplete. But that's because the arc had the real how she wanted to end this book. And a bunch of people are saying it was nasty. It painted women in a bad light. You had somebody saying this book took women back 100 years. Like, it was drama in the Goodreads comments. So that explains the ending of this book. It's a reworked ending. So I rarely read books that the arc is different from the ending copy, but 3.5 for this. It was an enjoyable read for me. This might be an unpopular opinion. I don't read thrillers for great endings. I know that sounds crazy. Like, my rating of a thriller means nothing. It means that as long as I don't say a book is unreadable, if I give a thriller 3 stars and up, I think you should read it. Like, it's a perfectly good time. I feel like everyone has a genre like that. Like, you're not reading it for it to reinvent the wheel. If it does, that's great. But, like, I had a perfectly good time, and I'm okay with having those perfectly good times. That's what these, thrillers are for me. So, yeah, I'm giving this book a 3.5 star, but my reading experience of this book was really delightful. Like, it was really delightful. Like, I don't regret anything. Like, it was perfectly fine. Will I remember what this book is about in 3 months? No, I will not. Thankfully, I've already done all my end of the year stuff, so I'll never have to tell you what this book is about again, because we'll move on to 2023, and this is a book I read in 2022, so it's going to, let's talk about that. The forgotten books of the last month of the year. Everyone films their end of the year videos, literally mid-December, and so the last 2 weeks of December, you still read books. And, those are just the forgotten books of the year, because, they don't make it into anything in 2023, and then they didn't make it anywhere in 2022, so unless the book is just absolutely amazing and you have to rave about it, or it's just absolutely terrible and you have to rant about it, it just gets forgotten. These are the forgotten books of the year, so I will 100% forget this book. I'll definitely forget this book because it's a library book, so I won't even have it to look at, and I don't think I need to buy this book, especially because I know, it has 2 endings running around. That's a little too ghetto for me. But anyways, that's the end of this video. I said we could possibly get to Draw of Hearts, but we're not, because I have to read the book club pick. Book club is coming up. We have book club coming up, and we are reading For All Time. And yeah, I have to read that. It's by Shanna Miles. So if you're watching this and the book club hasn't happened, read that book and join me on book club Sunday at 3 p.m. January 1st. First day of the year, we're doing a book club. I say we got to start off strong. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next one. Well, actually, I'll see you guys in the next clip where I wrap up this video. Let me stop rambling. Okay, peace. Guys, I am here to wrap up my library reading vlog. I gotta get these books back to the library, so it's time to end this vlog. So we read, or attempted to read, 4 books in this vlog. Will I be buying any of these books on my own? Absolutely not. I think I am perfectly fine returning these books and just not owning them. So you know what? That's good. I didn't go out and waste any money buying these books, but I did have a pretty good reading experience. This was not a bad vlog. These are the most, like, I feel like every book was different and every book had its interesting elements. So first we have Sign here, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars. I think the execution of this book didn't really come together for me, but I think this had the most interesting plot that I have read this year. I was in it the entire time. It's just, you know, the execution didn't fully go all the way like I needed it to go, but this was a really good read. And for a debut novel, this is excellent for a debut novel. Like, to just come in and shake the table, try to do something different. That was good. So then after that, we read Drunk on Love. My biggest gripe about this book is that at about the 200-page mark, there's really no reason why our characters shouldn't be together. Like, they're just like, the book could end at page 200. Like, okay, everything that's happened. Y'all found y'all way together. But then there's like 180 pages left after that. And so I felt like this book dragged on. It wasn't, and then it didn't do nothing to blow my mind. It just didn't annoy me. So nothing I need to recommend to people. Nothing I'm just greatly over the moon about. But I enjoy my reading experience. Then I tried to read The Book Eaters. I made it to literally the last 100 pages of this book. I just couldn't do. I just could not continue reading it. Maybe if I had an audiobook, I could have pushed through it. But it just wasn't for me. So it's a DNF. If I don't finish a book, I'm not going to come on here and give you all types of thoughts, tell you if you should read it or not. Like, I just wasn't the audience. It wasn't for me. You would have to go get some information from someone who read the entire book, but I can't give a fair assessment on a book I simply did not finish. So we got a DNF, which I don't think I've given you guys a reading vlog where I like DNF. I've given you guys reading vlogs where like I tried and just didn't get to a book, but like never, I just stopped midway through. But that was that. And then the last book we read was The Younger Wife. This was a whole lot of fun. I love a domestic thriller. You will never be able to take domestic thrillers away from me. I love domestic thrillers. Domestic thrillers are not for everyone. So if you don't love domestic thrillers and appreciate what domestic thrillers could be, this is not the book for you. But I love a good old messy family. I love a good old messy family. And that is what this is. And I enjoyed myself. The only thing is I felt the ending was a letdown. So it is a 3.5 stars because to me, a thriller rating depends solely on the ending. And the ending was a letdown on this one. But I told you guys there's a lot of mess when it came to the arc that got passed out on NetGalley. So like some things were changed by the author in the final edition, which I have. So take that as you will. But yeah, that's what I gave it. So that is the end of this vlog. I enjoyed myself. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.